Welcome to the Loud Whisper Takeover podcast. My name is Cindy Claes. As you know by now, I'm an action actress, also emerging filmmaker. So one of the questions I've been asking myself is, how do I create content for my Instagram as an actress? Somehow, it really seems simple as a dancer and as a person that does action or movement-based stuff. You just film yourself doing your thing. But as an actor, it almost feels like, well, if you haven't been working on a project and you haven't been booked on doing a film, a feature film, a short film, or a series, what the hell do you post on your Instagram other than saying, hi, I'm doing another casting? So recently, I met an actor based in Germany called Kevin. I met him on a platform that is called The Actor's Home. And when I looked at his Instagram, I'm like, he might have found a formula that works. I must speak to him. So please welcome Kevin from Germany. Hi, Kevin. How are you doing?
Hi, Cindy. I am fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. And I love the introduction because, I don't know. I don't want to say I have the answer, but I feel like for myself, at least, I can answer a big yes with your question for myself. So yeah, and I love being here. Thank you so much.
I was so excited because when I looked at your Instagram, I thought, okay, if I had to walk in the shoes of a casting director or a film director, I would get a sense of who you are as an actor straight away.
Yeah, that's the point, right? So yes, good. Thank you so much for that feedback. Sorry, go ahead.
I love it. Yeah, no, I thought like your content was just incredible and really inspiring. And I thought, okay, this guy is really finding stuff. Because I would say, usually speaking, when I look at actors that kind of, have a lot of followers on Instagram, usually they do sketches and they do really cool sketches. But I'm like, okay, I'm not really in that category as an actress. But when I looked at your Instagram, there was a variety of pieces of content, from sketch to simple acting to and you seem to just be in a flow creatively. So let's start from the start. Who are you as a human being? Where are you based? And what is making your world as an actor?
All right. My name is Kevin Silvagita. I am a 36-year-old German-Canadian actor. I have both citizenships because my mom was born in Netherlands, but she moved to Canada when she was 6. And then she came back when she studied to Germany. Anyways, so I have the Canadian citizenship from my mom, the German citizenship from my father. I live in Germany. I basically lived here all my life. I lived a year with my uncle when I did grade 11 in Vancouver. My mom raised us bilingual. Yeah, I live in the middle of Germany, which is the town is called Groß-Gerau, which sounds very German. Groß-Gerau, lots of consonants. And I always say it's Grand-Giraud. It's I make it sound French, so it sounds more multicultural, but it's a really small town. But it's close to Frankfurt. And anyway, so this is me. I live here on the outskirts of Frankfurt, I guess you could say, with my husband, 2 foster kids, 10 chicken, 2 roosters, and 3 turtles. I am a part-time flight attendant. That's how my husband and I met. I am a trained actor. Yeah, and I think, especially in the last 2 years, I made a big journey of finding myself, because I had a really, we'll go into that if you want to, I don't mind. We had a really tough break in our life, and I went to therapy. And with the process of therapy, I actually I think a week ago, I had the thought, I just really now got to know myself. So yeah, this is quite already deep, but this is me. A simple question, long answer, this is me.
I love it. I absolutely love it, because I'm sure that once I'm going to ask you questions about how you're creating your content, it's probably very much inspired by who you are as a human being and your life journey. First, I would love to ask you some questions about fatherhood. From our pre-podcast conversations, I understood that becoming a father of 2 foster children, is that correct? Seemed to have been a really big event in your life. So could you talk to me more about what it means for you to be a father and how that maybe perhaps impacted your acting career in general, or how you perceived your craft in general as well?
Well, that's a nice, really, really nice and thoughtful question. Really, really nice. Thank you. Being a queer man, children don't come easily and naturally, of course. And when my husband and I met, we're 17 years apart. So I was 21 and he was 36. 37, turning 38. And having kids was a very elemental part of our relationship, although we didn't really talk about it, but like these fundamental things like family, loyalty, they were always part of our common sense, I'd say. And then when I turned 24, yeah, we talked about wanting to have kids, and the journey was just rocky. Like, how do you do it? Do you ask a friend? Do you want to have a triangle relationship? Do you want to be like a patchwork family? Do you do a surrogate, which is forbidden in Germany and expensive? Do you adopt? Can you adopt? Where do you adopt? How many kids are there for adoption? How many heterosexual couples are there? And after almost a year, we felt like we won't have kids at all. And then, because we never wanted to have foster kids, because foster kids, they're difficult. You never know what you're going to get. You'll always have to handle the original family. And so we said, no foster family. No way. But before not having kids at all, we decided to at least have a glimpse to the road of foster family. And yeah, we thought that kind of suits us even best, because these are kids who don't have anyone to love them, not by fault of the biological parents, but just because of bad circumstances or because of bad biological background of the biological parents themselves. So the more we went into the process of becoming foster parents, we thought, okay, this is going to be tough, but I think this is going to be our way of becoming a family. And yeah, then after a very long journey of, I think, almost a year, we decided to be ready. And then the foster care people decided that we would be ready. And then we had in September 2015, we got our first child. And 2 years later, our second child. And thinking that I would never have kids, in the end, having kids was, yeah, I don't know, unbelievable. It's hard to describe. I think I cried a lot in that time, especially tears of joy, because it was so. We almost thought we would give up. We almost thought, okay, this was worth a try, but we won't have kids. And then we did get kids. It was so, I don't know, it's difficult to describe because you depend on people, not like biological heterosexual, let's say, or lesbians who can just ask for a sperm donator, which is quotation marks easier. You can just go and do it. Sorry to say it that blunt. And then, of course, you have to be lucky to get pregnant, but you can at least do it. And there's no one who's sitting there and saying, you can't, you can, you can, you can. And there we are sitting, loving each other really a lot and having a really strong relationship, thinking we can do it. And then there's people getting to decide and judge who we are and if we're worthy enough of becoming parents or not. And then having kids and really being able to give the love we always wanted to give was a life-changing moment, definitely, which also had a big impact as a human being, of course, because I think the most important thing I learned as an actor being a parent is it doesn't matter at all. None of the additions, none of the jobs, they don't matter. What really matters is that my kids are healthy, that they're happy, that they're protected, and that I can be there for them. And the rest is just, it's nice to have, of course. And of course, I'm ambitious and eager, and I really want to work as a film star, and I want to be in Hollywood and everything. But it doesn't matter. In the end, at the end of the day, it just does not matter. And I think that was the hardest and best lessons I learned being a father.
And may I ask, so because obviously in the fostering system, it's not the same as adoption, but in some fostering systems, like kids might have to change families quite often. And then in some fostering circumstances, it can actually be a lifetime. Are your kids with you for probably a lifetime, or are you still in a temporary sort of phase where it could
No,
change?
no, no. There's never 100%, but I always have this very harsh and black example. But at one point, I have to let go of my child, and when they have an accident, a car accident, and they die, it's terrible. But I never have 100%. I can never protect kids 100%, and that's how I describe being a long-term foster parent. Like, I don't have 100% that they will stay with me, because technically by law, the biological parents always will have a chance of, at least by law, having them back. But both kids have been with us since now 6 and almost 10 years. So, no, 6 and 8 years, sorry. And there is no contact at all with the biological parents. So after a certain time, psychologists and the court, they really look deep and look close. And then it's, where's the center of family of the kids? And obviously it's with us. Both found a sibling with each other. They've been longer with us than they have been with their biological parents. They've been with us basically a lifetime. So chances are zero, close to zero, but there's never 100%. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, we are their parents, and they stay with us till they can stand on their own feet, whenever that may be.
Beautiful. And I want to ask, obviously, I can hear in your story that you had to overcome a lot of, like you say, like the system is sort of, putting a judgment on you as a couple, as two men, as everything that sort of involves you as a human being, if you will be a responsible couple for these children and stuff. I'm sure that all the emotional aspect has informed you as an actor, all that journey, the emotional journey. But you as a father, like the relationship between you and your kids, is that inspiring you to create content, or is has your content nothing to do with being a father?
That also changed. Like, I started Instagram because of the kids, because my husband and I wanted to be idols, representatives for foster parents, for rainbow families, as we say in Germany. I don't know if that's an international term. And we actually were the first German gay couple with kids, being like a family influencer profile on Instagram. That's how I even found my way to Instagram. And then 3 years ago, I think, we decided to stop. And our content was always very political, obviously, because it's a political topic, whether we want to or not. And then there's lots of right movements in Europe, and of course in Germany, sadly too. So we always felt like we had to speak up. We almost had 100,000 followers on Instagram, so we always felt like we had a responsibility as well. So we not only showing our daily life, we never showed the kids up front, only from the back. We were always very cautious with that, but not only inspiring gay men to think about having kids, but also for society, opening up, giving different perspectives. So that was always very important. And then when we stopped doing the influencer profile as a family, and I started taking over as an actor, I had the ambition and the thought, I have the responsibility to do political and important topics for the society. So I started doing sketches which concerned LGBTQ or foster family. And then I made another journey, and it kind of did not feel not only not right anymore, but also it took so much time writing down this scripts. And I felt like it was not attached to being an actor anymore, but it was more attached to being important, or to trying to find important topics for society. And I made the switch inside and then outside, that I thought, no, I want this to be more of a journey for myself as an actor. And then I stopped doing these sketches, and I tried to find other channels. And now I'm just trying to concentrate on just being an actor.
And I also know that one of your children has a disability. I'm not sure if it's a physical disability or something else. Are you open to maybe talk about it a little bit and how that actually impacts you as well as a human being and as an actor?
Yeah. Well, that was the reason why we stopped our family profile, because it's emotional, and it's an emotional disability. It's caused by alcohol abuse in the pregnancy. It's called FASD. I think FASD is the international term. It's fatal alcohol syndrome disorder, and it affects huge parts of the brain, of the learning process, of repetition. It's huge. And when we got the diagnosis, we didn't feel being that secure anymore to talk about our private life. My husband and I, we carry our thoughts in our tongue. We're open books. That's fine. It will always be like this. It was always fine for us. But when that happened, I have to go back a little bit further. When we decided to have kids, we said no disability. We can handle lots of things, a missing arm, missing leg, but we cannot rebuild our house for someone with a wheelchair just because we just can't. We would love to, but we just can't. But emotional disabilities, we cannot handle. And then after having this child for so long, it turned out to having a disability, which we never wanted. So we were devastated, like our dream crushed. Lots of future options we thought we would have will never happen. Never. That's why I said earlier, they can stay as long as they need to. This one child will probably stay with us forever until we decide to pick a care home. And that also, one part is it shifted the perspective of wanting a big part of my life private again. And it also put so many things into perspective again. So many things are just not important. And so, it I guess also it made me even more open to my emotions. It made me connect even more with myself, really look into what do I really want to spend my time with? Do I want to create sketches to make people laugh, or do I want to create sketches to maybe help society, or do I now want to grow as an actor? And that's why I also changed with this big impact. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing all of that, because I think whether people are going, through parenthood or other some of the challenging moments of life, I think you touched on a lot of very strong topics when it comes to content creation. It's boundaries. Where do I say this is what I'm not sharing? This is where I want this part of my life to be private. Because also a lot of people in marketing say, oh, share your authentic self, your real self. And you also have to know actually which part of my real self am I going to share and which part I'm not going to share now, because this is part of the private sector.
And that's why I want to jump in. What you described and said in the beginning, I don't share any big private things, and yet you said you get a perfect sense of who I am as an actor, as a human being. So it is possible. That's why I just want to jump in. It is possible. You don't have to step over boundaries because you're afraid that you may not be able to show your best as a human being and an actor in this specific niche of acting people.
And I will ask you further, really in detailed questions about your content. But first, I want people really to have, an overview of who you are. So that we can really see, oh, that's how he created his content, or kind of, build a bridge between what he does in his everyday life and what he posts on Instagram. So the second thing that is, I guess, of some sort of influence in your life is that you have a part-time job as a flight attendant. So I'm sure you must have tons of anecdotes in regards to flying all the time and managing schedules and being a dad. But is there any content that you would say is influenced by your job of being a flight attendant? Or again, are you totally stepping away from that and it doesn't really impact your content at all?
It does. Like, I do have a few sketches as a flight attendant, and then I don't know, I'll probably do some sketches again. It's I really see, especially Instagram, as a huge opportunity to just play around and see what just happened, what suits. I mean, of course, if you ask these Instagram gurus and coaches, they'd say, pick a niche, stick to it, yay. But I think we actors have to step away. We have to step away from that perspective, because I think that's important if you really want to grow a huge followingship, which can be cool, of course, but it's really difficult nowadays, having so many people do it. I think important is that what happens is what you described in the beginning, and that's also what a writer feedbacked me. There was a job for a really cool commercial, which is going to air in September. And they didn't even look at my show reel, because they just went through my Instagram and saw the sketches. When I was cast for the job, I did more sketches, and he said he totally got the vibe. And he wanted me to do the part, to play the part, because of the sketches. Yes, I do have over 50,000 followers, but he said they don't care about the following. It was just about my content and the way I presented myself that he said he wants to work with me. And that's why I'm saying, I think we can, as actors, step away from this. Okay, we have to pick a niche. For some people, it works. I do have like 2 or 3 German content creators who are actors who really stick to their niche, and it works for them. But they are already famous. They already have over 200,000 followers, and sure, they only can post a sketch once every 2 weeks, and that's totally fine. But for me, I wanted to go back to this. Yeah, what do I want? And so I did some flight attendant sketches, but then I stepped away from it too, because I felt like I was forcing to do content just because people now expect me to do them, because I didn't fly for over 8 years because I was on parental leave, and then I took some 2 years unemployed holidays. I don't know what's the German or the term, like
Parental.
no, parental leave is if you have the kids, but then you can be on long-term leave without being paid. Well,
Sabbatical?
yeah, but it's longer. It's not like a sabbatical is, I think, just a year. Or is it? I don't know.
Oh, I don't.
Anyway, yeah,
Super long sabbatical?
a 2-year sabbatical, exactly. And then I came back doing the flight attendant thing, and I posted about it. And then I had the feeling, okay, people liked it. And again, I stepped into the trap of, people like the content of the flight attendant thing. Let's do more of it. And then I was like, no, but now I'm doing it because people expect me to do it. But that's not why and how I want to approach my Instagram. So I stepped away from it. I'll do some again maybe, but because yes, of course, it does inspire me, because I meet lots of people, which is what acting, I guess, is all about. Looking at people, observing people. It does inspire me always as a human being. Yeah, but again, I stepped away from it because I didn't want to be forced to do it just because it's expected of me.
And you were talking about sketches. So I saw some sketches on your Instagram, and during our pre podcast chats, we were also talking about the fact that you like making people laugh. Would you describe yourself as being a comedy actor, or would you say no, I'm doing castings and my dream roles are both comedy and also loads of other stuff? Or would you kind of say no, comedy is really my niche?
It's really difficult. I'm still trying to figure that out, because I haven't worked. Until 2 years ago, I was out of the business, of the acting business and of the flight attendant business, because I took care of the kids. And ever since then, I'm trying to figure out, like, I always used to be the weird one or the strange one. So I always thought, okay, I'll do like the Heath Ledger roles. Like, I'll be the weird one. I'll be the villain who's going to have a crazy story, and that's going to be my thing. But no, that's not me. And then my husband always said I'm really funny when I'm not trying to be funny. So I thought, okay, this doesn't make sense to be in the comedy business if I only can do it when I don't want to do it and no, I want to do and I want to be funny for a casting. I'm not. So that's not going to work. But then I did lots of advertisements, lots of commercials. and it was always kind of funny. So I thought, okay, maybe I can be this funny guy, but not like comedy stand-up funny, but like really in a nice, funny way. And then I did lots of workshops and discovered that I was the rom-com guy, that I could be like the love interest, which I never thought of myself. Never. I wouldn't. But anyways, I got the feedback. You could be kind of the love interest. And so now I guess I still don't know if that's completely my niche, but I'd say I'm the rom-com love interest, which combines the comedy, but not in a he's so funny way, but in a oh my god, that's really cute, or that makes me smile, that kind of thing. You know, I think that's my niche.
And then you also had a role in a German series, like a police series called
Yeah, yeah, but
Tatort.
it was for like the Tatort is a movie. Like the police officers, they stay for years and years, but all the other roles only appear in one movie. And I had a supporting role in one of those Tatorts, yes. Which is, of course, not comedy and not rom-com and not love interest and nothing. So, yeah, we'll see where that goes. But I'm just, I think rom-com love interest could work, but I don't know. The Tatort is airing in 2 weeks on a festival, and then in October it will be it will be airing in German television. So we'll see. I don't know. Maybe after that I'll be I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to spoil too much.
Okay, awesome. You are an actor. You are still exploring where you could get most jobs, but you're open to everything. But rom-com seems to be where people like to see you in. You are a flight attendant. You are creating content. So tell me about your content now, because there are different pieces of content. Do you have like categories of content? Or do you just come up with stuff? Or how does it work?
I think it flows and it's a journey. Like you said, I have the sketches, which is, of course, it's one part, but I haven't done them in a very long time, I'd say, because it's just so much going on. Now the kids are on holidays, so I don't have much time to write down sketches or to write down any big things. Plus, yeah, I felt stuck. So I think it's what I learned is not to do the content for Instagram and the people, but to do it for myself, to grow and experience. What definitely is one of the things I do is like a right left thing. Like I lip sync something from a movie, which is on Instagram. And then I do it in two different versions. Like, I don't know, I smile till one word, and the other version is I start smiling on that one word and then just write down which one is more effective. Or I do one with hate and one with love, or one knows the secret, one doesn't. Like these sort of things. I really like doing these myself because I really like to see myself how such a big it's not really open to just do something. It's really strict, like do this and then do that. And for me, that's really nice work to see, okay, what would happen if a director would come and say, okay, I really want it to be this way. How can I do that still authentically? And I give myself tasks to grow as an actor. And with the left right thing, like it's for me to see, okay, how can I do it as authentic as possible with a really strict objective, and then see how people respond and if it even reaches them what I want to do. And now one of the most content I create is my daily acting challenge, which is I just pick a very famous movie quote, or I did Shakespeare, To Be or Not to Be, and then I just play around with it. I do my warm up. I try to get into the groove, and then I just say the sentence 10 times. Sometimes I scream them. Sometimes I give myself like, okay, let's try to say it because my husband cheated on me, or let's say, okay, I'll do it because I hate someone, and then I just say the same sentence but with a different intention in my head. And yeah, I just play around with one sentence and see how it affects me, or I try to not be stuck to the rhythm of the obvious way of saying the sentence, but to just, yes, see how do I feel inside and okay, I'll pronounce this now differently, that sort of thing. So it's always just where, at least now, it took me a long time to get there, but now for me, it's just experiencing myself and like the reminding myself, because that's what you said in the beginning. Dancers, they practice every day, they dance. Singers, they sing every day because that's their instrument. Other musicians, they practice their instrument every single day. But just actors don't. Only when an audition comes up or when they're booked. They just don't. I didn't. And I thought, but I want to know my instrument by heart and I want it to work whenever it has to. And so the daily acting challenge was more like a thing. I started doing it without Instagram. I started doing it 2 months ago, I think. And then I thought, that's weird. You're on Instagram. Everyone tells you to create content and you're creating it basically every day and you just don't post it. Why? And then I just thought, come on, it's a movie. It's a movie quote everyone knows. It's not like I'm copying something which is not out yet. It's not from a self-tape, which I'm not allowed to post. It's not something I cannot post or I have to be like secretive about. No, it's something everyone knows. Or I picked some quotes from Bridgerton. Maybe next time I'll do something from The Bear. Whatever. I'll take something which is what I like, what I feel good about, and then I'll just record it, and then I'll just pick 5 different versions, and then I'll just post it. It's like it takes me 5 to 10 minutes to create it, which I do anyways because I want to practice as an actor. And then it takes me maybe 2 or 3 minutes to edit because it's not anymore about okay, I have to write a real cool caption I do the subtitle with the one line I do, and then I do 5 hashtags or whatever, and then I'll just post it. And sometimes only 50 people do a heart, but the thing is, I think if a casting director goes onto my profile, they'll see, okay, cool, he's doing something, and then even if they don't like it, it doesn't matter, but they'll see it. There's something, because I did this workshop with a social media coach for, I don't think she was especially for actors, but she said for actors, she transformed it for actors. And she said, social media is basically like Google search. And the SEO of social media is much more higher ranked than any other content we create. Like even in our casting profiles, they appear much lower than YouTube or Instagram or whatever. So even if they don't go or they don't look at us on Instagram, what most casting directors today do, they'll do it on Google. And then my reels will pop up from Instagram or TikTok. And they probably look on it, especially if it says 30 seconds, because usually you have 30 seconds, but sometimes you don't have the 3 minutes from a whole reel. You look and yeah, sometimes people actually want to work with me, or I was invited for auditions because of my Instagram profile. And again, it changes. Maybe in 2 months, I won't do the daily acting anymore because I feel maybe I'm bored of myself and I'll look for something else. It's just a playground. And I think there's no right or wrong. It's just a matter of how you feel. And you can always delete. Like I did that 2 weeks ago. I thought, oh God, this sketch is really cheesy. Cut it out. And I thought, oh my God, that's not my best acting in that sketch. Take it out.
I really love how you're very clear on, okay, I'm creating content, not just to get followers, not just to get likes, but just because I want to have flipping fun with my acting or with my craft. And I think that's really what attracted me to your Instagram account is, yeah, this guy is practicing, learning, growing, and having freaking fun with the fact that he's an actor. And I think that we really feel that. So just to summarize, I would say that there are sketches on your Instagram. So the sketches, you need a bit more time to think about it, to write it, and to feel inspired. You have this left-right type of content. So same sentence, but both characters have a different feel about the sentence. One is sad, one is happy, one is cheeky, and the other one is, a murderer or whatever. And then you created these daily acting challenges, which is one sentence and going through different whys of how you say it, why you say it, and so forth?
Yesterday, I even posted one with just drinking because I'm reading a book just right now. It's Respect for Acting by Uta Hagen. And the one topic I just read yesterday was about actions and doings. And I thought, that's cool. Let's just see how I can drink water with different types of behaving of work, like stereotypes, whatever. Like maybe I'll do that the other next time when I cook. I'll chop the cucumber and I'll go like, okay, I was betrayed. Or, yeah, I'm just playing around. Yeah. But these are, I guess you could say, these are the three topics I post about. Then, of course, if I have a job I was booked for and I get content I get to post, I post that too. Yeah.
So I want to talk about production quality and how big of a production there is behind the scenes. Because sometimes you have a normal background that we would use as a self-tape background. And sometimes, as you said, I've seen a few stuff of yours that are being done in the kitchen, for example. So do you have just a camera and a mic? Do you set up lighting? Do you have a whole crew that we are not aware of? Or how much production is going on?
No, it's just me. It's really just me. It's just my cell phone. I got a new smartwatch from my husband for my birthday, which is really cool because now I don't do it with the front camera anymore, but now I can. They're connected, the phone and the smartwatch. So now I can take the main camera, which of course has a better quality, and then I can just look onto my watch and see, okay, am I in frame? That's the one thing I changed to get a better quality of my filming. And then I just have one light, which I'm using right now too. It's just on a stand, and it has a warm light and cold light, and I could just dim it. I have a microphone, which I'm not using right now. Sometimes I use it. Most times I forget about it, but honestly, it's fine. I know nowadays these influencers, they have these cool thing and they talk about it even in their regular videos. If you scroll through, coming from this influencer background, I still have some influencers I follow, and then I see this and I'm like, okay, do I have to do it too? And then I listen to my videos. I'm like, I don't see the need of paying 200 euros or I don't know, $50 for so it's very low profile. I do have a colleague. He has a studio with this huge LED background, and we're trying to find a date to do content together. So maybe in 2 or 3 months, there will be content which is definitely higher, better produced. But basically, it's just me. I mean, there's apps. What do I use? Mostly, I just use InShot, and then you can have different backgrounds. I pick backgrounds from aircrafts. I go onto Google to stock images, and then if I do the sketches, I look for backgrounds I want to use, and then with InShot, you can just crop out your background, and then you can put the other one behind. That's a little bit more tricky, but still, it's just at the moment the content on my Instagram is just me, myself, and my instrument, because that's another thing. Because it took so much time to look for the backgrounds, to go, okay, I don't like now the quality of the background and the transition to myself did not work. Do I now buy like the pro version of InShot? Do I buy another app which is better? Blah blah. And it was like, no, back to the basics. I want to experience and express my instrument. I want to see what I'm capable of without any big tum-tum. There's other great Instagrammers, content creators, actors, actresses who do amazing videos with probably either a team or really good equipment, which is totally fine. But no, I want to be the actor where people go like, isn't that the guy who does just the quotes? And just does the quotes. Isn't that so cool? That I want to be that guy. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'll stop in half a year and I'll never get to the point. I want to keep it simple.
Yeah, that's why I invited you on the podcast. This guy that's doing these cool quotes, on Instagram that I found super interesting. So I have another question for you, an important one, because you're a multilingual actor. And I also speak several languages. I'm sure there are many listeners and actors that speak different languages. How do you decide which piece of content you're going to do in German and which piece of content you're going to do in English? Is that just, well, I feel the vibe? Or is that more of, well, I want to book this kind of jobs? How do you make that choice?
I switched, I'd say 3 or 2 weeks ago, recently, to English. I did everything in German. And I had a talk with my agent because I had 3 or 4 major international castings this year, which none of them I booked, but I got them. And since I am good with English, I thought, I want to work internationally. And then I had this talk with my agent we didn't talk about Instagram, but after that, I thought, if I want to represent myself as an international actor, or at least a bookable international actor, I should make my content international. So let's just make it in English. And that's it. I mean, what's one of the quotes I read? I didn't pick it, but frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Germans will know which movie it's from. And if not, they can Google it. They're like, oh my God, okay, I was Gone with the Wind. But it's just a sentence. So in the end, especially for these contents, it's just a sentence. And even if a German casting director would look to my profile, would go like, oh my God, that's all English. But still, it's my acting. You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure German casting directors would still get, that's Kevin Silvergitter. That's the vibe of him. That's his essence. And so, yeah, it's just recently I started to do it in English, everything, the captions, the hashtags, my bio, everything, because I want to work and be booked internationally. So that's the reason.
So you already shared that some casting directors have called you in because of your content of Instagram, or that you even booked jobs because a film director or somebody that was casting for a commercial saw your Instagram content and were like, yeah, he's the guy. What does your agent think of your content? Does your agent repost it? Does that also generate, reposts and that sort of things? Or is there any enthusiasm that comes, from your content in that way?
I know that he is totally supportive about it and that he loves everything I do. He's just not the big poster himself. So he's always, do whatever you want. Just don't be mad if I don't always repost. I don't mark him, coming to think about it. I don't, like, if it's something booking wise, yes, I'll mark him and or he'll even post something. But just this daily things, I don't even add my agency because I'm like, it's part of the puzzle to get bookings or to get auditions, but I feel it's not necessarily attached to my agency. I think it would even feel weird if he'd repost everything I'm doing. Because when it comes to agency, I think there's definitely this professional cut where you go, okay, that's agency, so that's bookings. That's maybe if you repost BTS from set, or if you post something from an audition, because that's helpful for the agency to show themselves that they have working or actors, actresses who are asked for auditions. But creating content like I'm doing, I think, has nothing to do with the agency and is no need to be even seen on my agency's side.
And so an additional question is about the call to action. So call to action is, for listeners, is when you do an Instagram post or a post on social media and you ask your audience to do something. So for example, please comment below. Do you prefer A or B? Click on the poll, that sort of things. Does your content include a call to action? And if so, do you do it with awareness or absolutely not?
Never. I think I think I started trying to do the sketches with this in my mind. Like I'd do a loop, I'd write it so that the ending would directly lead back to the beginning again. Because I thought that I actually, there's a few sketches which are really, when I see them on other content creators' pages, which are really nice because they end with but, and then they start again with because, that sort of thing. So it's like a loop and you can watch on. And sometimes it takes 3 times till you realize that it already played 3 times. I thought that was funny. And so I started doing this again because I also knew that Instagram liked replays a lot. And then sometimes I tried to implement a question into the sketch. But then again, I noticed it's really holding me back, or it's like I'm stepping into this loop again, trying to do or to create content for Instagram instead of creating art. And so now I just, no, I know that there's a lot of, I think it comes from TikTok, and I see it now on Instagram sometimes too. They go like, I'll take you with me on my daily acting. Well, in German, they say, make the plus disappear for more. Like it's the call to action for follow. Like follow me for more. Like they'll end every video with follow me for more, because eventually, I get it. I guess it will work that people will follow. And which is totally fine. I get it. I was in that in that hunting game myself. Like we had 100,000 followers. I was like, oh my God, this is cool. And yes, I do get it. And yes, I know that numbers do matter, and that numbers can also lead to bookings. But that's the crucial part. Like, you can step so easily into that trap of just serving Instagram instead of serving your own craft. And for me, but I had the influencer thing. I had the huge follower amount, and I know how stressful it can be. So I guess I have a different perspective. Like, I still lose followers. I don't grow because, and it's simple as that, and I can understand it. It's totally fine. I had like a magazine with the topic of furnishing. And then I changed the editorial of that magazine to motorcycles from now to the next day. And of course, the readers of the magazine with furnishing are not interested or didn't buy that magazine because of motorcycles, but because of furnishing. And that's what's happening with my Instagram account still. So it's totally fine that all these people, all these moms mostly who still followed me because of our rainbow family daily life, they don't want to see acting, or they're not interested in me experimenting around with one. And so that's totally fine. But yeah, so I do get it. And I totally understand why people add these call to action things. Yeah, sometimes I find them really, what do you say nowadays, cringe? Like, I find them embarrassing, or I find them really so much on the nose. And I'm like, okay, that was kind of, I feel like people understood the Instagram game by now, that you don't really need the call to action anymore. People know how it works. Like, at some time, if I repost my content into my story, I'll go to the GIFs and put in share, and then I'll see the heart, the share thing, the save thing, and then I'll just add it on the bottom, or write, share, comment, because sometimes people need the reminder. And I also do the stories telling people that it is important to interact with me, to like my stuff, because then the visibility grows, and that's important for the business. I do sometimes mention that in the stories, but, and that's the thing, I don't want to hinder myself. I don't want to serve Instagram, because that's what mostly happens. The longer people stay on my profile and on the app, it helps Instagram. It doesn't help me. But what does help me is showing my best acting. And I think that's how I do it at the moment, with just trying to take the time to actually act and play around. So yeah, no call to actions with me. No.
And I find it so important what you shared, because it's strange that you had this position of being an influencer before pushing the platform for you as an actor. So you kind of experienced the other side, that you were able to make more authentic choices afterwards. And I love that you said it's not about serving Instagram, it's about serving my craft. I think that's a very powerful piece of guidance and advice. Let's talk about followers, because like you said, followers is not all what we need, and that's not particularly why we're doing what we're doing either, but it can help perhaps getting certain jobs, or eventually if you have something to sell, like a course or whatever, or some coaching sessions or something else, or merch, it can help. So you have quite a lot of followers on Instagram. You have, at this moment in time, about 55,000, 56,000 followers on Instagram. How did you get those followers? Is that still, a part of like your influencer's journey that sort of brought followers to your page? And like you said, you also lost many because you're not talking about the same topics. And then my second question that is linked to that is, do you enjoy it having that amount of followers, or on the contrary, does that put pressure on your shoulders?
It used to. On the Switch it did. Okay, so I guess we had the very lucky position that we were the first gay German couple. So of course there was no competition. So all the moms who did the mom blogging, they shared us, and so we grew very fast, very quickly. And that was, of course, that was a nice position. It was nice to have. And then with the Switch, lots of people went. And in the beginning, I thought I have to keep as many as possible because, of course, I already 2 years ago knew, especially coming from the influencer business, knowing what's possible with a huge amount of following. I knew how much money you could earn or to which events you're being invited. And so I thought, okay, this definitely must work as well as an actor. So at the beginning was very eager. I really wanted to keep these followers. I really was desperate every time I lost a huge, like every time the number above dropped, I was like, okay, now people can see it again. If they're gonna drop in every 2 weeks and see, oh my God, he's losing again. What are they gonna think about it? And then I went to events and there were podium discussions on film festivals, and they're like, okay, starting with 60, 70,000 or starting with 100,000 is really interesting for a production company. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, now I really have to be inventive again and try to find something to explode again, to have lots of shares so people will follow me. It started again. And that was one of the biggest reliefs we had as a family when we stopped. Like we would always make sure that the family, the kids would come first. But what did happen as an influencer is our brain would constantly go around influencing because it was a private topic. So it was always, ooh, look, the kids are playing nicely. We could definitely make a great picture from here because you wouldn't notice them. And then we were like, but shouldn't we just watch our kids? Instead of thinking while we watch our kids to create content. And so that was actually the biggest relief we had when we decided. The reason why we decided to stop was not that, I have to be honest. And but so it's kind of weird, but in the end I can say we were lucky to have a child with a disability because it made us realize a lot about life and to handle social media. And then again, that's why I mentioned this, it happened again. Again, I fell into the trap of, okay, what do I do? What's special about my life? What can I share to get more followers? And it took me, I think, a year until I really realized how much time in my head I spend again. And I was like, but that's not what I want to do. And it didn't help. It didn't help my content. It didn't help my following. And it didn't help my general emotional state. I was angry, at least concerning that part. I was devastated. I was frustrated. I didn't grow as an actor. And then I was like, okay, let's stop. It doesn't matter how many followers you're going to lose. Eventually they will come back, or hopefully. And if not, who cares? I just want to have fun. And yes, of course, now I do have the nice experiences that I was invited to an audition because of my followers, or that I was booked because of my content, not the followers, but the content. But yeah, now I think I'm in a very healthy state with Instagram. I got rid of the responsibility or of thinking I should have a responsibility to my followers. I got rid of the wanting to keep the following. Yeah. And now I'm just I think, yes, it's nice to still have them. Yeah. I know that people when I'm on a film festival and colleagues are, let's connect on Instagram, and the first thing is, oh my God, what did you do? Were you a serious regular? And I'm like, I was just a family influencer. But yeah, so I just made a huge reset, which took time. And now I'm just playing around for myself.
Thank you so much. Like, just listening to this last part, it really gave me a lot of grounding
Mhm.
and calmness inside. Because, like you say, we can get so attached to the amount of followers and keeping the followers and finding more followers and blah, blah, blah. We're just in a
Yeah.
machinery that is not particularly good, neither for our craft or our
No,
mental well being.
no, absolutely not. And I think, sorry, I want to add this. The thing is, the right people will find us because having a huge following amount, most of these people won't be industry professionals. They won't give us jobs. Yes, they will give us a huge amount of reach and lots of visibility. So then, of course, people from the industry will see us again. And it will be interesting for production companies because of money and sharing the project, of course. But there's so many, and that's also what I want to add, so many colleagues who are not on Instagram and who are being booked. Do the math. I think
Mhm.
it's a great opportunity to do self PR, to get yourself out there, to connect with people. Like I said, maybe even connect with casting directors or be invited. But most of all, it's just a tool to experience and express yourself. Like, I think the most valuable thing with Instagram right now is reading the feedback from about the content I do. If whether what I intended to portray reach the people, or whether it doesn't matter what I do, 10 people will see something totally different and totally grounded me also as an actor. Like, people may go, okay, I can't make wrong choices for an audition. I can't play a role wrong on stage because everyone will see it differently. Just because it's on stage and not 20 people come afterwards and tell you their feedback, they still have it in their head. And that's what basically what helps me with Instagram right now. It doesn't matter what I do. People will have their own interpretation anyways. I think it's not about the following. It's about having a way to express yourself as an artist when you're not being booked.
So, to wrap up this interview, Kevin, can you share with us one of the roles that you would like to get booked on, or like something that you aspire to do, maybe as an actor, or that you hope to do at some point, whether that's in theater and
Yeah.
film, a particular role, a particular director you would love to work with? Do you have a specific goal, or is it something more vague in regards to energies that you would like to be surrounded by? But what does the future hold for you?
That's you planted a seed of thought in me that I hadn't had yet with the energies I want to be surrounded with. That's something I really will take in and think about. But I do have a very specific picture and vision. I definitely want to be on Bridgerton one day. I'm totally into the affirmation and manifesting game. And I was sure I was going to be the gay love part of Benedict Bridgerton in season 4. Somehow I didn't manifest good enough because it didn't turn out into a gay love story, but with a Sophie Beckett or something is the character now. Something was leaked. So that did not work. But dear universe, there will be more episodes, seasons to come, and I really would love to be in Bridgerton, and if not in Bridgerton, then something really cool historical. I'd definitely love to do some queer men portraying, of course. I'd love to do some queer family, from rom-com to drama, definitely. Yeah, I think that's another part where I change. Maybe I'll change again, but right now I definitely love to do rom-com and feel-good movies because there's so much going on in the world. I think we're coming, or I feel like artists or me myself want to come back more to the not only showing people different perspectives of life, but just giving them a break. Like I had it the other day. I started, what was it, Fallout on Amazon. And after episode 2, I was like, this is too much blood, too much cruelty, too much corruption. And I stopped. And then season 3 of Bridgerton came out, and I was like, oh God, I love it. I watched it 2 times just because there's so much going on in the world, and I just don't want to be thrown into another world of corruption at the end of the day when I finally brought my kids to bed, and hopefully without too much screaming around because there were sibling fights or I was nerve wrecked that day. And so but that just came recently that I thought, okay, that's the content I like to watch. I want to do that too. So yeah, I really would love to do really good quality, feel good content. But yeah, actually really on the Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hollywood level. That's my goal. That's where I want to go.
I was sending you all that energy, may it come from Instagram, like and all your beautiful content that you're creating.
Oh, thank you.
So do you have any sort of mantra, guidance, top tip that you would like to share to any actor that is listening to us right now and that is thinking about his or her content?
You mean specifically concerning Instagram or content on social media?
It could be content for other platforms as well. We talked about Instagram a lot, but it can be for other platforms as well.
I think, which is the hardest part, but still the most important part, is just to start. I think there is no wrong. Yes, it depends on which generation you come from. I was born in '88, so I still have this mantra in my head: the internet never forgets. Wake up! Today there's so much content. The internet forgets every day, everything. You can just post something and delete it 5 minutes later and no one will care. You can post something and delete it a year later. I'm doing this course. It's called Tech Savvy Actors. It's marketing for actors on Instagram. And Heidi Dean, she's the coach, and she always says, go through your Instagram or whatever social media once in a while and see, does it still represent your best acting? And that would be my advice. Just do it. Play around with it. Have fun. Don't be scared of bigger accounts, of better quality. Just do it. And then go through it once every 2 months and see, if I watch it myself, do I still like watching my own content? And if not, then just delete it. And then just try until you really do like your own content. And if you don't like it, then change. Or if you decide that you tried the social media game and you just are not made for it, then don't stop.
Love it. That is so important. Yeah, that thought of the internet never forgets. It's absolutely it's an old-fashioned way of looking at it. People are overwhelmed with information.
Isn't it? Maybe the internet does not forget, but I think the internet is so overwhelmed that they tend to at least skip things. It's just that's another good part about being a small content creator, whether you have 50,000, which is still small in comparison, or 500. Really, it could be hard, but on the other hand, isn't it a relief? You can just post it, and if 10 people saw it and didn't like it, so what? You may have a bad day on stage, and people will go, that was brave for him to go on stage, but I could have done that too. Of course, they couldn't have. The most people who will criticize you are the ones who are not creating content themselves. These are the ones who are going to be, well, isn't that embarrassing to put yourself out there with 36? Isn't that Instagram something for 12-year-olds? Well, but they're not, they don't have a public profile. They don't post things. They don't try out. I think trying something out on Instagram or any other platform is brave because it could go viral and could lead to a lot of criticism and feedback both ways, good and bad. So putting yourself out there is so brave. And I think that's one of the most important things I learned for myself as an actor, that I have to be brave, that I have to try and fail. So yeah, just go out there and fail terribly and do great the next time.
Thank you so much, Kevin. This was like an awesome conversation. It inspired me as well as an actress so much. So where can people find you and also Schauspiel Studio? Because I know you have your own acting studio in Frankfurt as well. Where can they find more about you and the studio?
Well, you can find me on kevin.silvergitter, my first and last name, on Instagram. That's basically actually all I do. I claimed my accounts on all the other platforms, but I only post on Instagram because I would get lost. Different platforms, different content. I just do Instagram, period. And if I have a show reel, I post it on my YouTube. That's it. And you can also find Schauspielstudio Frankfurt, which is my, it's a working space. I founded it a year ago with a director, and we meet every week, and everyone is invited. You can just, if you're from Germany or if you ever visit Frankfurt on a Tuesday, just hit us up on Instagram and ask, and you can just drop in and we can just have a good time.